Through these halls, where lovers get lost and lust consumes the wicked, a place where reality collides with fantasy, in the pages where romance is second to none. Welcome to the Lover's Library.
Hey lovers!
I'm Carly.
I'm Sydney.
And I'm Zoe.
Welcome back to the Lover's Library podcast.
Good morning.
Oh yeah, it is morning.
It's morning for us. And if you're listening after this episode drops, it's probably morning for you.
Yeah, truly.
If you're
Good
one of
morning.
our dedicated followers, because how many downloads do we have?
We're over 1,000. I think we're at 116, 115.
Yay!
Nice. All time. So that's legit.
Yeah.
You
that's
guys are
pretty
working us
amazing.
towards our dreams of being able to read for a living.
It's 1,015 right now.
Nice.
Wow.
So
I love all of you.
yo. I mad appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Mad appreciate y'all.
I appreciate
You're gonna
you.
make me cry. I've been crying all week. Let's not.
I
do
almost
that.
cried this morning already.
Yeah.
Watching a video
I
of
know,
you.
Oh my gosh. So, emo. Let's get into the episode.
The
What's our
No
book?
Show by Beth O'Leary.
Yee!
So, what's the scoop? Beth O'Leary. So, this is really cool. I like this about her. She has been writing books since she was 17.
Period author.
And
Dang,
she
girl.
did not stop. She kept trying and trying and trying until someone contacted her and wanted to publish one of her books. So after 8 years of trying, she wrote a book called The Flat Share. And I thought it was really cool. Like, so she's a British author and her commute to work was on a train, a daily train ride. And she said that that's where she wrote most of that book, was on her
Wow.
to and from on the train
That's
to
so
work.
cool.
Huh.
So I've heard good things about that book. Definitely want to check that out.
I would totally check any of her books out for sure.
Yes. So the other one was, I can't even read what I wrote. Oh, The Switch. I thought it said The Swittin'. I was like, what is that?
Switchin'.
The Switchin'. No,
Okay,
it's
Beth,
called
get
The
on that.
Switch. Then another one is The Road Trip, which is, this is the one I suggested that
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we listen
you did.
to for our girls trip. We're
Mhm.
having a girls weekend here coming up, so we'll talk about that more later.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one that's, I can't
Is it
remember
coming
if
out?
it's coming out this year or if it already came out this year,
Uh-huh.
but it's called The Wake Up Call.
Ooh.
So they all sound really good, and I love her tenacity and just how she just kept going.
I love that.
I know. Good for
Me too.
her.
I'm
I'm a
inspired.
quitter.
And her book was
Me too.
good.
Me too.
Her book was good, so it was worth it.
All right, tell us about the
So,
book. Tell us about. Give me a
This
summary.
book is written in 3 point of views. So we have Siobhan,
Siobhan.
Miranda.
That's how you say her name?
Yes.
I was saying Cinnabon. Like Cinnabon.
I thought it was Shaban.
Siobhan.
Are you saying it with a V?
Yeah, Siobhan. Because
Okay.
they call her Shiv. Remember?
Yeah.
Ah, that makes
SHIV.
sense.
But I thought it was I don't know.
And
I don't
also, I looked it up on how do you pronounce this name? And they did have a couple different ways to say it, but I believe she's in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's how they would say it. Was
Dublin.
Siobhan.
Dublin.
Makes sense.
Siobhan.
Siobhan.
Siobhan. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's her, Siobhan, Miranda, and Jane. All 3 women are very different, but have one thing in common. They all love Joseph Carter.
Mr. Joseph Carter.
Joseph has a different relationship with each woman and often appears frazzled, like he has been running late, or stands them up completely.
Poor guy.
Does he figure life out, or do the girls figure him out?
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
This book made me want to scream.
Girl.
Lovers quarrel.
Me too.
I was so mad.
frustrated. I was so mad. Oh my god.
I was like, you know what? I'm so excited for this book. It's going to be like that movie, The Other Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck this book.
Yeah. It was so good.
Definitely at the beginning. Everything wraps up at the end. It all makes sense. But at the beginning, you think that everything is going at the
I was
same
so
time.
confused.
And you're like, why? How is he getting away with
Yep.
being
I was
with 3
he's
women at the same
so
time?
good at
Yeah.
this. I would forget their names.
Yeah.
so
Right.
fast.
Honestly, I thought there was like a serial killer kind of gonna come into this book, and it's nice and pink and like cutesy at the on the cover.
You broke our hearts, bud.
It looks like he's literally like running between 3 different women.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we first talked about this book, I think Zoe had mentioned like that he was standing them up.
Yeah, I thought he was.
stuff.
I thought it was a big old hoe.
Yeah, and so, but I just immediately fell in love with Shiv. Like,
Me too.
the very first encounter we had with her, she was waiting for him at that coffee place.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And she says that she was irritated by how quirky it was.
Mhm.
And I was like, thank you. I love you. Like, sometimes if things are too quirky and
right,
too like hipstery, I'm
Right.
like, I just, no.
right.
You're trying so hard to be different that
Yeah.
I don't like you.
Yeah, you become a hipster.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. That's why I don't read any of Carlene. What's her name? Hoover.
Oh, Colleen Hoover.
Carlene.
Which we just had a commenter.
Carlene.
We just had a commenter today say, why don't you guys have any Colleen Hoover discussions? And I
No.
said, oh, because we haven't picked any. And then I said,
We
read.
never will.
I
And
said,
we
read,
never
buy a
will.
thread, and get back to me.
Right.
But,
Well, I did read one book by her, but I'm
And?
just not into it.
Me too.
I
I'm a
like them.
hipster about Colleen Hoover and like really overly popular authors. I don't know. I want them to die, like
yeah.
their popularity just to die down and them to just become regular authors. Like.
But then you start doing it and you're like, oh, this is what all the hype was about. Whereas it's been on my life. I've wasted all this time hating them.
I'll waste some more time.
I didn't find the hype.
Oh, I've enjoyed her books. I have read a few.
I love that
but
for you though. I love that for you.
Let's get back to Shiv.
Yeah. Sorry.
So I already said I love her, but
Mhm.
I also loved how she like freaked out on the guy that spilled coffee on her red
Oh,
dress.
yeah.
I would
But
have
I
too. Excuse me, sir.
I 100% thought that guy was gonna come back.
Me
around
too.
Somehow,
I was
and she
hoping.
was gonna be with him instead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
Because I was like, oh yeah,
Well, okay. You would think that because in all the other girls' stories, somebody like like there is somebody. Well, at least in Miranda's case, there
Yes.
was somebody that kind of came back that we got introduced to when we first met
thank
her.
God.
Girl, let me tell you, and I love him.
I
Um,
put in my notes at one point, I said, and I quote, I'm only here for AJ.
Really,
At a certain
Seriously.
point,
Oh
a
my
certain point in the
God.
book, I was like, I'm only reading this because I want to know what happens with him.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
fell in love with him the first time we met him.
me too.
Yep.
was
I
like,
wanted them to
he's
work
the
out
one.
so much. Like I was like, if Joseph like left this book and like I don't know disappeared because they all like found out all at the same time.
Mhm.
Like I honestly
Yeah.
thought there was gonna be like all of them
Mhm.
found a way to like connect, especially when Miranda found the receipt in his pocket.
Yeah.
I was like, for sure she's gonna track it back. And
I
then
thought they were gonna all meet at that stupid fundraiser gala.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Little
So,
did I know.
should we have a little rewind a little bit?
Oh,
So
sorry.
Joseph, as we've said, he is with all 3 of these women.
Mm-hmm.
Siobhan is his kind of hookup girl.
Mm-hmm.
So she calls him anytime she's in London and they get together and have amazing sex.
Mhm.
And that's about as far as that goes.
But
In the very first
she's
chapter,
starting to feel stuff.
yeah,
Mhm.
in the very first chapter, he invited her to breakfast and she went, and it was on Valentine's Day. She went and waited for him and he did not show up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of their story. Then we have Miranda. She's the only one out of the 3 that he actually dates.
Yeah.
Like he was in a relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
She is a tree surgeon.
Yeah.
Which
I love
is
how they said
so
that.
cool.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that was a job.
they're like, in America, that's called a lumberjack. is what
Oh.
they mentioned it at one point.
Yeah,
Oh, I
totally forgot about
that
AJ's
part.
a lumberjack.
Yeah, Miranda's
that's
sister
not
was
us.
like, the sexy lumberjack is here. And Miranda's like, we're not lumberjacks. We're surgeons.
She was like, he's in basically flannel.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's actually dating him. She works with this group of guys. They work on trees, like trimming trees and
And
doing
they're
groundwork.
all so great.
I know.
Yeah.
Every guy she works with.
Yep. But her main squeeze from there is AJ, which
Mm-hmm.
Miranda's first day on the job, her boss Jamie said he had told all the guys,
Mhm.
don't fuck with her, don't touch
Yep.
her, she's off limits. And AJ was like, challenge accepted.
Right.
Oh, and he shows up with a freaking puppy.
He did.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
You just
he's
fall-
sold.
I fell in love with him too. We all
Yep.
did.
So then we have Jane, and he he met her at a bookstore. No, coffee shop. Was
I
it the
thought
cafe?
it was her antique shop thing that she worked. Her thrift
No,
store.
No, he saw her
initially at the coffee shop. It was a
coffee
coffee shop kind of.
and
vibe.
he kept going back because he was attracted to her and wanted to get to know her more. And
No, I thought he was behind the counter. I thought he worked there.
no, he works in IT at that firm. Remember?
No, he left because of the situation.
I didn't think he worked there. He kept going back because he wanted to see her.
Hold on, let me.
I know I'm right.
Hold on.
I'm pulling an Adam, putting
Hold on.
400 down.
Okay, girl.
You see him rolling his eyes.
Let me see.
And if you can hear a dog howling, I'm sure you can't, but our neighbor has some German short hairs that he like breeds and trains to hunt and stuff, and one of them is severely depressed right now. He's so sad. I don't know why, and it breaks my heart. Maybe you can text him and tell him his dog's crying. But so while she's looking that up,
I'm reading.
Joseph and Jane start a relationship. They kind of make a book club together, and because they have a lot of the same interests. But Joseph ends up standing her up as well. One of the first things was he stood up Miranda and Shiv
You're right.
on Valentine's Day.
Mhm.
I told you.
I thought in my brain I
I'm gonna
pictured
say,
he was
I don't think
behind
he
the
worked
counter.
there.
I didn't think he worked there.
That'd
he
be
saw
a
her
big
there.
step down from your IT job.
But
This is-
considering the situation,
Okay, maybe.
I would have.
The thing was though is she was so okay. Rewind. Jane had a traumatic event,
yeah.
and her way of controlling everything was by making her schedule down to what she wore the same.
Mhm.
Like she wore the red dress on Monday, she wore the yellow dress on Tuesday, on Wednesday she wore jeans with the blue shirt. Like
Mhm.
it was down to a T. She only allowed herself creamer in her coffee, like one dab of like one
And
drop
only
of creamer.
one book a week.
Yeah,
One book.
and would only read one book a week. So she was very structured. And so she would come to this coffee shop like every day. And when he realized that, he started coming at the same time because he just wanted to see her.
I have
And,
a.
like-
Can I interject here?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's one reason why Joseph fell in love with her, because Shiv was the same way. Like, remember when like I
Her
think
itinerary for every
was
day
minute
was-
by
Yeah.
minute by minute by
Mhm.
minute, and I don't know if, because he's so late to everything. I wonder if he was attracted to that because he was like, there's some predictability about her that I
Yeah.
recognize, and I find comfort in that because
Yeah.
it's a good mirror. Like
Yeah.
it was hard for them, but
Well, and I think too, like when you look at all the girls, Jane was the one that had the most things in common with him.
mhm.
And so when he realized that, and at this point he had done a lot of growth on himself, which
Mhm.
you're going to hate this sucker till the last fourth of the book.
literally,
Just wait.
literally.
But I was just so frustrated with him at the point, like, why are you doing this? Because in the book, the way she has it set up, it literally makes it look like he's running around like late for everybody. So he like stands Shiv up for Valentine's Day breakfast. Then he
Mhm.
has a date scheduled for Miranda at lunch, and he doesn't show. He stands both of them up.
Mhm.
And then he comes and he looks like hell when he comes to Miranda to apologize.
Mhm.
He's got flowers and he's like, I'm so sorry. And he's like
Mhm.
trying to apologize and everything.
Mhm. And then he had an evening situation with Jane,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was like,
Oh, yeah.
every
He had
part
that
of the
whole
day.
planned.
yeah,
Which-
but that's how it's set up initially.
Yep.
You
Yep.
We
think he's
find
a
out later it's
jerk.
not that, but
Yeah.
And he's not even good at cheating because he can't even make it to one date.
Yeah.
No.
But when we figure out the whole situation,
Mhm.
it's kind of like
I mean, it was okay.
he was
But-
dating her. He's trying
Mm-hmm.
to become more emotionally invested in a relationship. But so he brings her in and the mom goes, which one is this? I was like, oh shit, mom's in on it. I thought for sure the mom was in on it.
I know. I was like, okay, mom, that's it.
I thought for sure, like what you said, I thought she was like, before we knew it was Dimension, I was like, oh, she just about
Calling
to
him out.
call him out.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Girl, it was a mess.
It was a mess. I loved Jane, and I just
Me
thought she was so
too.
sweet.
And the two older guys, that were like,
Mortimer and
I can't remember his name.
it started with a C.
Colin.
Colin. It was.
Yeah, they
I was
were
gonna
so
say
sweet.
Killian, whatever, but that was
Yeah.
X.
Siobhan's
X.
ex.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I just loved Jane, and it really took forever to figure out what was going on with her.
Yeah.
So, but do we want to talk about Jane's history?
Yeah, let's get into it. So her mom passed away when she was younger, and she moved to London to go to this corporate job. It was a law firm.
Yeah.
And so her like dad was super proud of her for going to London. I guess it was like a huge step for her anyways.
I think because she lived in like a small town. And
Yeah. And like she would call, like she would miss her dad's calls intentionally because she just didn't want to like
tell him like,
yeah, she didn't want to have that
she
conflict
also
or
moved
something.
back to her mom's hometown.
Yeah, to kind of build a connection that she felt like she didn't have.
Mhm.
After everything happened at her job.
And then, so she moves back to Westminster, or she moves to Westminster, and she is working at this like antique shop.
Yeah, like a thrift store kind
Yeah.
of. Like a Goodwill, I would
It seemed
say,
like
kind
a
of.
fancy one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like in an estate or something. I felt like that's
But
what I
also,
pictured
it seemed like it was just like trying to help the community because, I mean, they had things like underwear and bras. And like
Yeah.
all the places we have, like they don't sell that kind of stuff.
But they also said, like, Aggie, who came in, they just
Mhm.
trusted that she would come back and pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
So I loved that. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like kind of small town vibes.
Yeah. And then there was like this older lady who had a son. I didn't really understand that dynamic because it was like she would try to push people onto Jane, like these random guys.
Oh, Kay?
Yeah.
The lady that worked there? Oh,
yeah.
she was the worst.
And Jane was like, I'm Gucci, you know, I'm good.
She's like,
I don't
"Fuck
need
off."
I don't need this. And she would try to avoid, and she was like the most non-confrontational person
Mhm.
I think we've ever read.
Yeah.
And so
She's so sweet.
she was trying to get out, and then Mortimer would always like come to her defense, and
Yeah.
her gay grandpas. I just
Yes.
loved them. I'm so glad that she had them. And then
they just
Agnes
had no
and,
judgment
Yeah.
for her.
Or
Like,
Aggie.
it was so nice.
Mhm.
I just love that.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of how Joseph came into her more than just reading a book club thing, is
Yeah.
because she was so troubled by this Kay lady that kept trying to push guys on her,
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
some of their coworkers were getting married and they were having like an engagement party,
Mhm.
and she didn't want to show up without a date because she had been maybe accidentally had told them that she had a boyfriend.
She did, yeah.
And she's like,
'Cause she was trying to
just
get
wanted
out.
to get him to stop.
She was trying to get out of like Kay asking her to like
Yeah,
go out with
harassing her.
somebody. Yeah, exactly.
And so that's the date that he no-showed on Jane. Is
Yeah.
he was supposed to come to this and he didn't.
But then when he did show up, it was like the sweetest little thing because he came in
Yeah.
the morning after and he looked like death. Like I think he had a black eye or something because
Yeah.
he had fallen.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like he was in a fight.
Yeah.
And
he looked like he had been up all night.
yeah.
What's the word? Hung up to dry. It's something and hung up to dry.
I don't know.
Hung out to dry.
Girl, I'm the worst at
Do you know what I'm talking? Peyton's nodding. He knows. He's catching.
What is
Do
it?
you remember what the saying is? I don't know the first. Gosh, it's something else. And then
So,
hung
y'all
out to
fill in the
dry.
blank. But he comes in and like he kisses her cheek and he like wraps his arm around her waist and she was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Like
I
she
would have
goes-
been like, you better have got your ass beat last night for missing out.
Well, and she mentions that she hadn't been like physically attracted to him in a way. I think she was, but she was trying to hide it, like
Yeah.
to fight it.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
the second he kissed her on the cheek, she was like, "Oh my gosh,
She fell.
I want to be
Mhm.
with you."
Yeah, but she kept fighting it though.
Because she was fighting a relationship, just kind of like
She needed to. She had a little bit of trauma back there.
yeah.
Should we talk about her trauma? What happened?
Might as well.
Should we
It
get?
ties in.
Oh, it just
Because
all ties in.
she
It's so
actually
good.
knew Joseph
Yeah,
before.
She
but
recognized
not
him when she
really
first
knew
saw-
him. Yeah.
and she knew Richard, just like
Fuck
Shiv
Richard.
knew Richard.
Kill him.
So
Let's just fast forward.
We've already
to that.
decided.
okay, so Jane worked at the big company. right? And she worked for a guy named Richard. She was his secretary.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he took advantage of her. He flirted with her, made her think that she was special and important. And
The way he
but
described it, I was like, okay, so this girl like came on to him too. But Jane does not seem like the type.
I think
Shiv
she-
met Jane. She met her. They've met. Do you remember?
No.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
I'm not
Yes, she
saying
did.
no. I'm saying I don't remember that part.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember when she was doing those one-on-ones at the company?
Mhm.
It was the same corporate company.
Yeah.
And she had one with a secretary, and then she had one with Richard right after.
Oh.
So Jane has met Shiv.
Oh.
So
Huh.
they met because she was talking about I feel like they were in her one-on-one with the secretary. She was talking about issues that would have very much applied to Jane.
Huh.
And then you go back to his, and he was like, well, I have this secretary, and she
Yeah.
like, you know.
Well, let's rewind to mash it all together then.
Mhm.
Shiv is a motivational speaker,
Life coach.
Yeah.
/ life coach.
Empower.
So she travels along,
Yeah.
and she travels around and has these speeches where she talks to people about like feelings and stuff.
Mhm.
But she also like has sessions where she is kind of like a therapist, life
Yeah.
coach. Like
Yeah.
they talk to her about their problems, and she kind of helps them out. So
Yeah.
she has a deal with the company
Mhm.
that Jane works for, and that's how she met Joseph.
Yeah.
She was hosting a thing for that company, and he was attracted to her and started talking to her after that. So that's how those three are connected. And then we have Richard, which is he was kind of like a higher up guy there,
Yeah.
and Jane was his secretary at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But Richard is also a client of Shiv's.
Yeah.
So he was having these one-on-one meetings with Shiv at the same time that we're starting to figure out what's going on with Jane.
Yeah.
So basically, Richard and Jane
We're in a
started doing the
relationship.
hanky-panky,
Mm-hmm.
but then it
Mhm.
kind of got to the point where
It was non-consensual.
it was not,
anymore.
yeah, it was not consensual anymore, and he was making demands and almost like blackmailing her.
Yeah.
Jane.
And she saw like stuff on his desk and all this kind of
There's
stuff.
other
Mhm.
complaints. and
Yeah.
He
And-
gets her, like, frames her for
Yeah.
an issue and gets her
She-
fired.
Some paper that was very important and needed to be signed and sent off right away. Like she brought it to him, he signed it, and then I'm gonna just go out and assume that he started getting physical with her, but not like consensually.
Mm-hmm.
And he got flustered and forgot to send the paper off.
Yep.
Mhm.
But then when it turns out it didn't get sent off, he blamed it on her. He threw it away and said, I never got it. And she's like, yeah, I gave it to you.
Mhm.
But
This guy.
Such a
so
dick.
Jane makes a run for it. She escapes the situation. I believe there was some sort of payout.
Mm-hmm.
Richard paid her to like just go away and be quiet.
Mhm.
Don't tell anyone
And
about
the
any
sad
of
thing
this.
is, she made it seem like she didn't realize
Yeah.
until like later on. She was like, "Oh, he was paying me to keep me quiet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not
Yep.
to take care of me."
Right.
Yeah. So that's when she moves back to her mom's hometown, and she works in that little shop because that shop is ran by volunteers. None of them are paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of the things that Joseph had mentioned, like, how are you affording this? Like,
Right.
no one really put it all together till like I said, the last fourth of the book. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? But one of the things that I liked about Jane that I related to was when she's trying on dresses for the
Mhm.
wedding,
Yeah.
and they pick out the red dress, and she really likes it, but she says that it was too noticeable.
Mm.
I felt that to my core. Have you ever like not picked out something because you're like, this just stands out too much? Like,
I don't want people to look at me.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like that too. I'm like, that stands out too much. Like,
Sydney's like, "No."
No, I don't know if I've ever had. I mean,
you're talking to the girls that literally wear black all the time.
right, and I be in the colors.
I would say quite a bit of my
My entire outfit is
I'm
black
wearing
right now.
black
except
I know.
Very
I'm
camo
very
pants.
grayscale right now.
neutral, yeah.
It's the hat. See, the hat's yellow.
Yeah, girl. But I just felt like I really related with that, and I liked how
Mhm.
she kind of brought that in. Like, you're gorgeous. You don't need to be hiding. You know,
Yeah. Her
If you-
friends were amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like if you like the dress, wear the dress.
Right.
But At the next thing I had was, oops, there's a puppy in here. I'm so sorry. At Jane's coworker's wedding, when Jane and Joseph are staring into each other's eyes, and they're holding the glass in between them, and they just have that moment. It made me think. And then she says, what'd she say? And it's over. It's gone, as if the moment never was. Did you guys ever watch My Best Friend's Wedding?
No.
I know. It's on the list. We're
on the list. We're going to watch it on our trip.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this, let me just give a really brief, because this moment is freaking beautiful, but heartbreaking at the same time. And it reminded me of this, like, exactly. There is a time, so a girl and a guy used to, like, date a long time ago, and they always loved each other, and they made a pact that if they weren't married by the time they turned 30 or something like that they were going to get married.
Love this book. Read this one a million times.
And he calls her, and it's getting close to that date that they had said, like, if we're not married by this time. But he calls her to tell her he met someone. Aww. And that she's his best friend, and he couldn't imagine walking down the aisle with anyone else by his side but her. Like, he wants her to be his best man, basically. And she's like, as heartbroken as she is, she's like, okay, I'll be there. And so her and him are kind of reconnecting and things like that. And she's actually trying to sabotage the wedding. Really, she really is. And this one point, they're on a boat going down a river, and they're getting ready to pass under a bridge, and they're having this like serious talk. And he says that his fiance says, if you love someone, you say it. You say it right then, out loud. And then they start to go under the bridge, and it gets dark. And she's like she's about to say, like, I love you. And then they come out the other side, and he says, otherwise the moment just passes you by.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't it? I freaking love that movie.
Right, I know. I'm too emotional.
But when they said that in the book, I was like, the moment just passes you by. And that's exactly what happened. Like, they had this moment, and it passes by. They just let it go.
It needed to happen. It needed to be passed by.
Yes.
In this situation.
Yes. Because I needed him to work out some stuff.
Yes.
And he needed to work out some stuff. Okay, let's just
say what happened.
Let's just go to the end. Just go to the end.
Okay. So
if you really want to know, read the book.
This is really getting there. Okay. So that all happens, blah, blah, blah. Shiv has decided Joseph is the one.
Yes.
They get together.
There was a pregnancy scare, but that...
Yeah.
That makes her go into like a breakdown.
She was pregnant, and they basically she ran away and didn't talk to him for months.
Yeah.
But finally they get together, and they're having this wonderful, beautiful, blissful relationship. He surprises her, takes her glamping. They have this wonderful night out in this cool wooded wildernessy area with a cool tent and fire and blah 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 blah.
I hate this fucking book.
And then the next morning,
but she loves it.
She gets a message from Richard, and it clicked in my head. Is this when it happened for you guys?
Yep.
I said, "Oh my god, he fucking killed her."
Yeah.
Yeah. Up to this point, I had no idea that these were 3 scenarios possibly happening at different times.
Yeah.
At this point, I was like, Shiv is the one.
Yeah.
Shiv is the one.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. And then that happened, and I was like, oh my god, she dies.
Mm-hmm.
I figured it out all at once. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So we don't know what happens. That is just something that we came to on our own. So then we go back to Miranda.
Mm-hmm.
She has broken up with Joseph because she's she thinks he's cheating.
Yeah.
Everything. But in her gut, she's just worried about him.
Yeah.
She's like, something's not right. So she goes to his house, and it broke my heart when the mom answered the door and said, he's ever so sad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
But then she was like, Joseph, you don't have to cry anymore. She's here. Or she came back. And I was like, oh my god, this is so sad.
It's breaking my heart.
Yeah, that was a rough.
Yes. Ooh. So Miranda goes in, and she finds Joseph just absolutely just trashed. He's drunk. He's upset, and you can tell he's just he looks like shit. Normally he's very put together and looks nice, smiley, and he's in got stains on his shirt, wearing sweatpants, drinking a ton of alcohol.
Yeah.
And she finally gets him to tell her
What
was going on.
Yeah.
So, drum roll. Joseph and Shiv dated 2 years ago.
Yeah.
None of the girls were being cheated on.
No.
I was so mad at the author.
Mhm.
I was so relieved though.
I was pissed. I was like, you
I
made
hated
me
him
hate
the
this
whole
guy.
time.
I hated him the entire book.
But when he would like stand them up and then apologize, I was like, I really like him, but it's making me mad that I like him because he's manipulating all these girls.
Yeah.
But turns out he wasn't.
No.
Nope.
She wrote that very
Beth.
well.
That's what I said. I was so mad at Beth. But then I was even more heartbroken because of how much I hated Joseph up to this point. But I was just like, ugh. So Miranda gets the whole story. And what happens was Joseph and Shiv start dating.
Mm-hmm.
Richard, her client, is becoming more obsessive,
Yeah.
wanting to be with her. She's starting to get nervous. She was on her way to meet
Joseph finally.
on Valentine's Day
Yeah.
for lunch or something. They've
Their
fallen
redo.
in love. They are ready to go. Yeah, this is their redo because he stood her up the first Valentine's Day. And she's on the train and she realizes Richard's on the train with her.
Like right across from her.
And she's like, he shouldn't be here. Like, why is he here? This is not where he lives. Like, she's putting it all together and she's realizing, like, oh shit, he's here for me.
Yeah.
So she gets off the train and she starts running. She's like trying to get away from him. She's like, I'm so close. Like, if I can just run these last couple blocks, like, I'll be there and Joseph will see me and he'll come help me and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets to the street to cross the street and she starts running across it. And she sees
motorcycle.
Joseph and he sees her. And they're looking at each other.
And then she fucking dies.
And then she looks back.
She does.
She looks back to see if Richard's there, which he is. He's standing right there.
My God.
And she gets hit by a
motorcycle.
It
was going through like traffic.
Yeah. And she dies.
And she was pregnant.
Was she?
Yeah.
What? No, she wasn't.
She was. Yeah, she was. Let me
Really?
keep going.
She's
while I find
furiously
it.
looking through her book right now. I did not catch that
I
part.
did not. Me neither.
But it was.
She was.
She was pregnant.
She was. She says that when she's
No.
dying.
Yeah,
She remit
was.
like she.
Okay.
She's going through all of her stuff.
It was sad because as
As
she's
her
dying,
last seconds bleed away, it's not Siobhan's life that passes before her eyes. It's the life that she has finally let herself begin to imagine. Quick kisses first thing in the morning as Joseph passes her coffee. Slow walks down shore fronts as they talk about their future. Blah, blah, blah. Hold on. And the children, all the children she has ached for. The children she already knows deep in her belly and loves with every scrap of her being. It hurts. There is no hurt like this. And then, like, she thinks long enough for him to get to me and look me in the eyes so I can tell him.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think she's pregnant.
Deep inside of her
That's like
already.
I mean, technically, you're born with all the eggs you'll
Oh
ever
my gosh.
produce.
But she said so I can tell him. So I think she was.
That
Why would you tell? If I was dying and I was pregnant,
Right.
I would not tell my husband that.
Well,
I'm
he's going to find
pregnant.
out.
yeah, he will find out when they do the.
I don't know. That's fucking terrible.
Beth, I need you to answer. Was she pregnant or not?
But so she dies, and it was very traumatic. But like
Even for me, I was like, dang.
he got to her.
This can't be right.
He got to her, but she was like dying, and she did their little hand squeeze that they did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he knew she was like, I'm gonna cry. She's like saying goodbye.
Oh no!
So-
Keep it together.
I was literally fucking crying.
So yeah, so then he tells Miranda this whole thing, and Miranda's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, like, why are you dating people right now?" She's like, "You're
Bro.
not okay. Like,
Yeah.
this is not okay." And he's like, "What?" And then finally, AJ gets involved.
I love that.
I love
AJ's
him.
like,
I
I
love him.
decided. He's like,
Well, her sister called her and she's like, "Where are you?"
She's like, the lumberjack's here.
I'm at my ex's house.
Yeah. So she
Not
finally,
leaving.
she's like, put him on the phone. Don't let him leave. And so Miranda tells AJ, she's like, I'm at, and she called him Carter, which I thought was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else
Mhm.
called him Joseph, but she called him Carter.
Except for Scott.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, she's
Well-
around a bunch of guys. They usually use her last name. Maybe that's a thing.
Yeah. But so she tells AJ what's going on. She's like, I can't leave him like this. Like, I don't feel like he's safe. I'm really worried. And he's like, okay, I'm coming to you. So then AJ gets there and he realizes, he's like, oh shit, this is really bad. I need to help her. But him and her have a moment and I'm just
they kiss and Carter sees it and no, the mom sees it. It was something.
So I think
People
Carter
witnessed
saw
it.
it.
Carter
He
was like the big tattooed one.
yeah, he's like, no, it makes sense.
So then they
But-
make a deal. Carter or Joseph and Miranda make a deal. She's like, okay, you need to take a year. No dating, no nothing. Just
year.
heal. And so he does. He does that. And that's when he meets Jane.
But he met her before the
Yeah.
year was
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And
Because
he's-
that's why he looks so ragged when he sees
Yeah.
her the day after Valentine's. Is because he went through all of this the day before.
Yeah. This was the drinking and
Yeah. And
all
that's why
that.
he had the
he
black
was
eye.
so drunk.
He fell.
And he passed out and he slept the whole day and slept through their date. Like that's why he didn't come
Yeah.
to the wedding
Yeah.
or the engagement party.
Mm-hmm.
But so this is the whole thing. Jane has been present. She's in present time.
Yeah.
And this has all been leading up to the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So
2020.
Yep. So the moment that they had at the wedding where they're holding the glass when it just passed them by,
Mm-hmm.
he said, I'm dating somebody. Because he panicked and didn't know how to say, like, I'm not emotionally stable and
Right.
I'm not dating anyone for a year.
Yeah.
And-
I'm dating me for a year.
yeah. So then finally the year is up. And as soon as it's up, that boy is running.
Girl.
Mhm.
And
He's-
he's in love with her.
He
honey.
comes and he finds her and his little speech to her saying how much he loved her. I
Yeah.
was literally squealing.
It validated everything about
Yes.
her. And
Yes.
I'm glad that there was some closure for her. She had
There was
a
closure
great,
for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say even for Shiv, like,
Me too.
because they honored her. Like
Yeah.
Jane
Agree.
was like, I
Yeah.
don't want to forget her. I want you to remember her. Like
Yeah.
for
I
everything
really
that she
liked
was
that.
Mm-hmm.
and Miranda, even her and AJ got together and they even were still friends with him and
Mhm.
and then
Fiona.
They spent time with her friends.
her friends, they had the phone call
Mm-hmm.
with everybody, like the Zoom call with all her friends. I was like, this was so just, she wrapped it up in a nice pretty bow and
She did.
I was glad to see that everyone had a happy ending.
Can I talk about one moment? Okay. There was the moment when after Shiv had the pregnancy test
Mm-hmm.
and she was like going into breakdown mode. Fiona, she is the friend that you need
Mm-hmm.
during those times. Like honestly, like she settled her down. She told her, like, you're here, this is where you're at right now.
Mhm.
Like she made her come back to the present time
Yeah.
and she just validated what she was feeling. And like that's what you need,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
regardless of if you're going through a breakdown or not. Like you just need people that will.
Well, and that was one of the things Shiv said was like, am I real? Is this even real?
And that broke
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
heart. I was like, oh my god.
But I don't know, did we say Fiona is Shiv's best friend and roommate?
No, but that's who
Yeah,
she is.
just so you know.
She was
And
such a good friend.
she gets together with Scott.
Yeah,
Who is-
which
Why
I was.
can't I remember who Scott. Oh, Scott's Joseph's best
Yeah,
friend.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Remember,
I forgot
she
about that.
was only sent to distract Scott.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Shiv and Joseph could talk.
the whole thing was great how
It
they
was-
laid it out.
So Beth, hey yo, again, this was a one.
So
I
Shiv
enjoyed this
died
book.
in
16.
2016.
16.
Miranda and him broke up in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
He got together with Jane officially in 2020.
Yeah,
Yep.
That messed me up. The whole time I was like,
yeah, tough.
it was really good though.
Should we talk about the third date?
Sure.
There
There
really
wasn't-
wasn't a lot of spice in this.
I enjoyed that. I think it
too.
would have ruined it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, Miranda talked about how when she was around AJ, her skin
Mhm.
buzzed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Those are the only two parts that I have that I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
was when AJ, so after Joseph stands Miranda up for their lunch date on Valentine's Day, the next day he comes like scrambling into her work, like she's
Almost
up
kills
a
her.
tree and he distracts her on accident and she ends up cutting her like rescue line, basically, like
Yeah.
the most important line that's tied to her body that's securing her to the tree, like she accidentally cut it. And she realizes it, and she's just like holding on for dear life. And so they send AJ up to rescue her. And he's all big and strong and just grabs her and carries her down.
And they mentioned that when they're like getting together, like in Carter's kitchen, he was like, we just fit. And I knew that was the reason why I knew you were the one.
Yeah.
And he was with, like, he had started dating somebody during the time they were
like their bodies fit together.
He was on a date with that Abigail girl.
Yes.
He's like, she's not Miranda.
And this tied into another Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Wasn't it on Valentine's Day again?
Yeah.
Yep. And that's when Miranda went to check on Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
And then AJ was on a date with the other girl. And then he realized, screw it.
Yeah,
I don't want to be with you. Why am I wasting my time over here? I need to be with Miranda.
Her.
So he got all ready, and that's when he found them. But I loved them getting cozy in front of Carter.
I thought that was so weird.
It was weird, but the way they were doing it, like, he was sitting down and she was standing in front of him and he had his hands on her waist. I was just like, that's nice.
In front of her ex who's having a mental breakdown.
I said I felt real bad.
Dementia.
I said I felt real bad, but I liked it.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of spice, but I don't think this book needed it.
No,
there was enough drama happening.
Yeah.
And like you're mentally trying to figure out everything.
I
would
have been more angry if he had sex with everybody. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he might have, but like, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think he had sex
It
with Jay.
wasn't said in the book.
Yeah.
Just Shiv.
Mm-hmm.
And Miranda.
Yeah.
He had sex with Miranda.
Yeah.
But should we do Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Yeah.
Yes.
I had a hard time because I like Joseph, but I was trying not to do the toxic woman thing where I was like, oh, we can be together and I'll fix you.
He needs therapy.
He needs therapy. So we'll just fuck him. We'll marry AJ and we'll kill Richard.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's my vote. I felt like AJ was the healthier choice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, my turn?
Yeah.
So mine's a little weird.
Mine's gonna be weird
Colin.
I'm
You're gonna change that man.
You really want to change Mortimer?
No. I'm going to fuck AJ, marry Fiona,
Okay.
and then kill Richard, obviously.
Avi.
I like that.
She was just like,
You know,
so.
if we're going
Perfect.
that way, then I would probably marry Aggie.
She was great.
Yeah.
I really liked her. She seemed fun.
Mm-hmm.
The water balloon thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But AJ, man, I mean, I'm more into guys. Muscle and tattoos. I mean, I can't say no.
And penises.
Okay.
But I just need a little Fiona on my shoulder all the time to keep me sane.
You just be her best friend. Maybe that should be a new one that we add.
That's
Fuck, marry, kill, best friend.
Yeah. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom. Okay. So I'm trying to remember his name.
Okay, then
She's
I
gonna
want
pick
to
Mortimer.
fuck
Bluebell.
Scott,
Yes.
marry AJ,
Okay.
kill Richard, and my best friend would be Fiona.
Nice. I like it.
Okay. I'm going to I think his name was Spikes.
Yes.
Him.
Ambrose.
This is one of the coworkers, one of Miranda's coworkers.
Because he just seemed like a really sweetheart. He just looks like a
level-headed too.
Yeah.
Like he
and he helped Miranda out at the end too. Like
He would just listen.
yeah.
Yeah. I liked him.
So maybe I'll F AJ, marry Spikes.
I like that.
And then of course kill Richard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Unanimously kill Richard.
Yeah.
Who's your best
He
friend gonna
deserves
be?
to die.
Fiona.
I think
I
I
love
changed
her.
my mind. I think I want Miranda to be my best friend. I could get. She seems like low maintenance, like me.
I'd like to hang out with her and her sisters.
Yeah, they seem like a good time.
Okay, speed date, guys. I got some good ones, and you guys don't look.
I was looking, but
You're
I didn't.
gonna hate me.
I didn't read.
You're gonna hate me a little bit.
The thing.
Does anyone have anything?
No.
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 Okay, Joseph. I picked Jacob. I'm gonna say his name wrong.
Gyllenhaal.
Elordi. Elordi. You guys, when I get on something,
Oh my God, yeah, I can see it.
Over to the right.
Not the mustache.
Down
but,
one.
Yep,
That one.
That one.
For who?
Joseph.
Joseph.
I
He
mean,
kind of looks like that in this picture.
Yeah. That's him.
I can see it.
Then for Shiv, I picked Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. She's got the blonde.
She's got the spiciness. She's spunky. She's
Yeah, actually, yeah. I could see that.
her behavior. Now, you guys are going to hate me.
Oh.
I do
Why?
this thing where I like hyperfixate on certain things.
Oh,
mhm.
so do I.
And right now,
ADD.
my hyperfixation is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Oh my
Shut
gosh.
So I feel like
No.
Miranda could totally be Taylor
And
Swift.
Travis Kelce's AJ.
AJ is Travis Kelce.
No, wait. What's that other guy's name?
Oh, he's so handsome.
He is beautiful.
Look at that. That could totally be them.
He's like a 6 to me. Sorry, Travis. Don't
But-
hate me.
You got to give him points
I like
for his
him with more hair.
personality.
Yeah.
Have you? You need. I'll start sending you stuff. I mean, I
Please
check it
don't.
daily.
I already get enough of the Kelsey
I know.
Okay,
jeez.
okay.
podcast.
My next one is probably my favorite, and this is how I picked Joseph, Joey King, for Jane.
Joey King. I think I know who this is.
Yeah, this ties into the Taylor Swift obsession.
Ah.
She has a picture with Jacob Elordi. Look them up.
She's
together.
got that innocent look.
She looks 12.
Look. Oh, there he right
Look
there.
at them together. Oh, tell me that's not
She
it.
does look like a baby.
Who is she?
Jane.
No. Oh, you're picking her for Jane?
Yeah. I think
Oh my
she's
God.
perfect. I think they're perfect. But okay, so that was my other hyperfixation at one point was the kissing booth.
Mhm.
Shout out to Jacqueline, my coworker, got me hooked on that, and I watched all of them like in a fast time frame. And I was like in love with this guy. But okay, my last one. I
Mhm.
did pick someone for Richard.
Ugh.
Gross.
Mel Gibson.
Oh, no.
Why are you trying to ruin Mel
Look at
Gibson?
him. Look at him.
Well, Mel Gibson
Look at that
ruined
beard.
himself.
The far left one.
Ugh. He's like an angry Santa Claus.
That's him. Richard was an older man.
He
Does
does
it-
that. He does.
That's him.
Well, yeah, that's a real creepy,
That's
like
a Richard right
aggressive.
He's
Yeah.
the one who hates Jewish people, right?
Oh my gosh. We love all people in this podcast.
We do.
Your race, sexual orientation, religious preferences.
Yeah.
Just shout out. We're pro people.
Shout out.
Aliens, no.
Can you get
Not
that
illegal
picture
aliens.
off the
We like
screen?
legal aliens. Yeah, I like everybody.
Be quiet. Stop. We're gonna get canceled.
Did you say not aliens? I
I
like
said
aliens.
I'll be creeped out if an alien comes. I'm not gonna lie. But if it's a cute one, it'd
I
be
got it
different.
tattooed on my body.
There's an alien that showed up.
I have a ghost.
I have
a ghost
nothing.
too.
I like ghosts. Okay, so smash or pass?
Smash.
Smash.
Smash, but be in a healthy
For
mind
sure.
frame because if I read this book 2 weeks ago, I've been
It was rough for me this week.
Sad.
I read it this week and I was like,
Yeah. The twist and the conclusion had me all the way. My sister I think she's listening. She does a lot of Audible books. But she texted me and said she was still trying to get through this one. And I said, just keep going.
mhm.
Like it's
I think this
worth
one
it.
probably would have been hard to listen to.
yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, because there's so many different.
Because you want to go back and forth. Like, did I miss something from
Yeah.
that person's perspective? Or like that
I
kind of thing?
wrote notes under each person's name. So I would remember what they looked like.
So maybe
where
that's
they
why
worked.
she's having a little bit of a hard time with it. But
That I would recommend getting the actual book
Mhm.
or like your Kindle for
Mhm.
this one and not listen to it because it could get hard to keep track of everything when you
It's
don't
one
have
thing
Also-
like if it's a male's and a female's point of view, that's like you're like, okay, I can listen to that.
Yeah.
But this is 3 women.
usually they have different voices for each character, though. Like the person will change their voice,
Mhm.
or they'll actually, if they have a good enough budget, they'll have multiple
I love when they do
voice
that.
actors.
I do.
Now,
too.
I will say, I listened to part of Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking hated Ozroth's voice. I was like, that
Because
was the
Ozroth.
most unsexy voice. She made him sound like an 80-year-old British man.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
that's
didn't listen to it.
hideous.
I listened to it and I was like, this is hilarious. That's not what I thought he sounded like.
No, and if I hadn't read it in my own voice, in my own head, like, I would have been like, But the
It was
fact that I
very
had
hard to
already
be
had-
attracted to that voice.
yeah, because I had part of it, like, I had part of it already read, and then I would just fill in with the Audible, but yeah. So, this book is it's a good one. We loved it.
We had 2 good books in a row, guys.
2 good books in a row.
I would
Let's do
like
this.
to read more of her books.
Me too.
Yes.
But
one of those
I
authors.
need warnings if somebody's going to tragically die
Right.
at the very end of the book.
I was crying.
Seriously.
That's okay.
I
It's
cried.
good to cry. And I like that there was closure and it was a happy ending. That's all that I ask. A happy ending. So, what's our happily ever after?
What
I
is
think
it?
our
It's
next
yours.
book is You with a View.
Oh, it is. I forgot. You with a View by
Jessica Joyce.
Yeah, and I went to Barnes & Noble. It's there. You
I
can
just
go
got
pick it
mine
up.
off of Amazon.
And I went to the one that we usually go to. So, I
Nice.
know you can go pick it up in person at Barnes & Noble. It's in the romance section. I was at the fiction section. I was like,
I'm
is
going to
it
get it
fiction?
off of Libby.
Libby. Or if you
If
want to
they
get off
have
of
it.
Libby, there you can
Oh,
do that.
do they have... I bought it because
Are
the
you-
wait was
He
really
bought it.
long. It was like
Oh.
28 weeks. That's why I bought it. Yeah,
the
you might need to
worst.
buy it. But fun fact, I don't know if y'all know this.
I
I'm
don't.
on a Kindle group on
Facebook?
Facebook.
Is
Me
it called
too.
Kindle Girlies?
Me Yeah. too.
Me too.
Are we all on it?
Yeah.
Weird.
So
I love it.
somebody posted the other day about Target having a sale on books. And when I
Heck yeah.
got there, I saw the sign. It said 50% off. And it was buy one, get one 50% off. And then the girls on Facebook said, Target price matches. I did not know this. If you pull the book up on Amazon, and they do it with anything, like if you get it for a different price somewhere else, they will honor that other price if it's cheaper. And
okay.
so I ended up getting, it was kind of a mess.
4 books.
Yeah, I got 4 books. I was trying to price match all of them. And then I was wanting the 50% off, buy one, get one 50% off. And when she rang them up, they didn't ring 50% off because the sale had ended. But it didn't
Ooh.
say that anywhere. And the sign was still up. So she had to go find somebody to get the sign and to see that it was there. And then she had to ask her manager if she was allowed to honor it still.
You
Which
best honor it.
They did. Because I was about to be like, take the books back then.
I don't need these.
Because Adam was already mad at me for putting all these books in the shopping cart. But I ended up getting 4 books for like $30.
That's crazy.
Dang.
And the girl, yeah, because
Ah.
shout out if you're listening, Target girl.
Shout
Thank
out,
you.
Hi, Target girl.
But Jackson goes, we were checking out, and my son's like, yeah, my mom has a podcast. And
He's
I
like,
was
she needs these books to be on sale.
and then I was just like, oh, yeah, I do. And then awkward Carly was like, it's called Lover's Library. You should check us out. And then she got all excited and pulled her phone out and said she was going to write it down and asked all the questions. So hopefully
God.
she found us.
Hey, Target girlie.
Hey, Target girly.
If you ever want to give us some deals, we love that.
You should
Or just
comment
Target.
so
But-
we don't have to
But
call
that
you
was my
Target girl.
PSA for the day. Target price matches.
Target price matches, girl.
So find your price on Amazon and then go to Target and price match it.
There you go. All right, y'all. That is the end of the Potted Pod. We love you. If you want to follow us on any of our social media platforms, we are on Instagram. We have 2. We have the Lovers Library Pod, and then we have the Lovers Library Book Club. You go ahead and follow us. We be in the stories sometimes. We're trying to get better at social media, so just stick with us. And then we also are on Facebook at the Lovers Library Book Club. You can always join. It is a private group, so we'll have to have you be put in. But we love you. We'll have you put in. But again, guys, we love you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Happily ever after.
Bye.
Sometimes I forget I have to say that.
That was an awful bite. That was like a troll.